Hi, I'm Liz Shaw, and I'm pleased to be bringing you episode 3 of The Liz Shaw Show. And I'd like to start by saying that this episode here is going to be about online bullying, which is something that's been attracting a lot of media attention lately, particularly with Charlotte Dawson being trolled on Twitter and told to kill herself by sticking her head in a toaster. I would just like to say that I really do support Charlotte Dawson. Now, I was never a great fan of hers up until the online trolling Stop the Trolls campaign began. But since then, I've started to think about online bullying, and having experienced it myself, it is a real issue, and it's not something we should ignore. And it's not something we should let carry on, because to the person trolling and to the people online bullying other people, you may think they're just words on a screen, but let me tell you, they're not. They're so much more than that, and they are so much more damaging than you could ever understand. And basically, I want to give you my personal experiences with online bullying in this vlog. So I myself have been online bullied for several years now, and in some ways I would have to say that what Charlotte Dawson received, the abuse she received for a week or two, was nothing compared to the abuse that I've had to endure for quite a few years now, to the point where at one point I did end up leaving the country. Of course I came back. I was one of the lucky ones. It didn't affect me as much as it has others. Charlotte Dawson went to hospital. That's quite serious. In fact, it's very serious, and it's not something that should be taken lightly at all. Cyberbullying of any type absolutely needs to stop. Now, I can't recall the name of the girl, but a few years ago, it would have been probably back in 2006, a 13-year-old girl in the United States killed herself because of online bullying. That's probably the worst case scenario that can happen through cyberbullying. But there's other things that can happen as well. Relationships can break down. Think about it. You're being bullied. People are telling you you're useless. Now, unless you have exceptionally high self-esteem, it's going to affect you, and relationships can break down. People can lose jobs because what's on the internet, it's not just there for one day. It's not just a conversation that can be erased. It's not like a text message on a phone where you can delete it or you have a contact number. Most cyberbullies have the advantage of being anonymous. Unfortunately, their target, the person being bullied, doesn't. Now look, we all think negative thoughts about people at some point, and we all say things that we wish, we could probably take back. And sometimes we do have quite horrible thoughts about other people, but that doesn't give anybody the right to abuse others online. It doesn't at all. And it's not something people should be doing. Ultimately, people can have their lives ruined with online bullying. Charlotte Dawson was, I would have to say, very courageous in bringing it to the media's attention. And she was very courageous in standing up to the bullies. A lot of media commentators across both Australia and New Zealand, on a number of websites and a number of radio stations, have said, oh, why didn't she, just stop looking at the comments? The fact is, everybody wants to know what people are saying about them, whether that be for the best or whether it be for the worst, whether it's a smart move or a dumb move. And some would say just log out of Twitter or just log out of Facebook. But I'd like to say why? Why should people who are being bullied have to? Shouldn't people have the right to use the internet without facing abuse? Shouldn't people have the right to communicate and have the same experiences as others? Personally, I think internet legislation is way too relaxed and it needs to change, and I'm really glad that governments are finally stepping up and taking action, but I feel like it's too late. I feel like the damage has been done. I feel like people will continue to hide their IDs, hide their IPs, hide who they are, hide, basically anything which could possibly trace them. And that's really not fair. Sure, we could take the internet away from cyberbullies, trolls, but what's that really going to achieve? All they'll do is find another computer, go to another location. It won't actually address the problem. Would you go up to a stranger in the street and tell them they're fat? Would you tell a stranger in the street to stick their head in a toaster? If the answer's no, then, that kind of indicates that cyberbullying is wrong. In fact, any bullying is wrong. Having opinions is one thing. Having opinions is fine. If you disagree with somebody, fine, by all means, disagree with them. Debate the issue. Don't resort to personal attacks. It's not acceptable behaviour. And I, for one, am very glad that online bullying is finally being addressed in the media. And I would say and invite you to offer your thoughts on cyberbullying. But because of cyberbullying on my last two videos, I'm not going to do that because I've disabled the comments. So look, you're going to have to find somebody else to abuse. Because people deserve respect. Everybody deserves respect. And is this what the internet's having to come to? People having to stop communications because they're worried about being bullied and they're worried about being abused. That's not a world I want to live in. And it's a world that you shouldn't want to live in either. Everyone should respect each other. By all means disagree with each other, by all means have different opinions, but don't abuse people. It's just wrong. And that's only the tip of the iceberg on the matter. I'm sure I'll address it at another point, but like I say, you won't be able to comment because comments have been disabled because of online bullying. And it appears that's the only way to stamp it out, which is a shame because I'm sure there are some people who have valid opinions on cyberbullying. So I'm sorry, but the minority have ruined it. This was the third episode of The Liz Shaw Show, and once again, thank you for tuning in, and have a good evening.